Hello, everyone. This is Mark Landiak, and I am delighted to bring a presentation summary from the Prepaid Expo called Making Money in Wireless that will be presented by yours truly and my cohort in crime, Bob Lafon, and Bob is on with us as well. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Mark. Great to be with you as always.
Thank you. You as well. And I want to tell you, this is an exciting presentation that we're going to be giving out at the Prepaid Expo very shortly. And I'm delighted that we have an opportunity to kind of give the attendees an overview of what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, some really good content. I'm excited to be able to whet their appetites a little bit.
For those of you who don't know Bob, let me kind of do a quick introduction for Bob Lafon is a global business consultant focused exclusively on the wireless industry. He has 30-plus years of industry experience working with carriers and agents and industry suppliers. He's been instrumentally involved with indirect for a number of years and has actually built the indirect channel for a national carrier. He also worked for an agent for a long time, and he helped them to grow the business from 19 locations with $6 million in revenue to 111 locations and over $100 million in revenue, which is very impressive. And Bob brings his consultative expertise in a variety of areas to help dealers impact both their top and their bottom line profit. And I'm very excited to be co-presenting with Bob at the Prepaid Expo. And Bob, tell you, it's going to be a fun presentation, that's for sure.
It absolutely is, Mark, and I'm looking forward to doing this one with you. Folks, this is going to be a very meaningful event. If you haven't had the opportunity to see Mark or work with Mark in the past, I'm sure you'll enjoy his facet of the presentation as well. I personally have retained Mark as a speaker twice in the past, so I know just how good he can be. Mark is president of Corporate Dynamics, a consulting firm that works with wireless carriers and agents as well as suppliers, and has been doing so since 1989, so he's a long time in the industry as well. He specializes in sales, customer service, and management training for the wireless industry, and that's exactly what I brought him into my company to do a number of years ago. Mark's also an author and a creator of Beat Your Best, a store performance process and store management development program, outstanding program. And he has something that I find rather unique, and that's an industry best guarantee that will make you money or you don't have to pay us. Now, that's a pretty powerful way of putting your money where your mouth is. I don't think I've seen that kind of guarantee before, Mark. So that says something about the quality of work that you deliver for your clients. And as if he wasn't busy enough, Mark's also the founder of the Wireless Business Owners Consortium, otherwise known as WIBOC, which is an online resource for wireless business owners and industry suppliers. Something that's really needed because folks in that space just don't have the bandwidth, if you will, or the financial wherewithal to do things that carriers and other large organizations can do. So Mark's put together a great resource for smaller companies to enable them to do things that they might not be able to do on their own. So that's a little bit about Mark, and I'm excited to work with you again, my friend.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and let's talk a little bit about the Prepaid Expo. For those of you who aren't registered, there is still time. The Prepaid Expo is going to be held at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas on August 22nd, 23rd, and I believe this is a big anniversary for the Prepaid Expo, and you've got a lot of experience working with these folks, Bob, but tell us a little bit about their anniversary coming up here.
Yeah, it should be a great show. This will be my third Prepaid Expo. This is the 10th one overall, and it looks like it's going to have the largest draw to date in terms of booth participants, speakers, and just general attendees. So I'm really excited for this 10th anniversary show.
Fantastic. Well, go to the prepaidexpo.com and get registered, folks, and make sure and come up and see this presentation. And let's go ahead and give them a snapshot of what we're going to be talking about. Does that sound good, Bob?
Sounds great.
Right. So we're going to do something a little different this year. We're going to play a game called Jeopardy, and we're going to ask the burning question, is your wireless business in jeopardy? And we've come up with 5 different topics that will help keep a business maybe out of trouble or potentially sink their ship if they're not careful. The first one, frontline incompetence. Second one, squandering opportunities. Next is running or ruining my business. Next one is, why aren't you doing this? And lastly, another poor hiring decision. So with that, Bob, why don't you take us away, give us a category and an amount. Let's get us started here.
Great. Well, thanks for letting me start. I'm really intrigued by this middle topic, running or ruining my business, Mark, for $18,250.
All right, let's go ahead and click right onto that. And the answer is, lack of attention to this area can easily cost $18,250 per year per store.
I think the question is, I don't have a written plan in place for the success of each location, Mark.
That is exactly correct, Bob. So talk to us a little bit about that response there.
Well, every business starts a new fiscal year with an overall plan for the organization. They're going to look at the prior year's numbers, do some forecasting, come up with a general overall strategy for the organization. And that's all well and fine, and it's an appropriate activity. But what's more important is breaking it down on a per location basis. Not all stores are created equal. Not all serve the same demographic. Not all have the same traffic counts. Not all have the same visibility. Not all have the same competitive pressures. And in light of that, it's necessary to create individual store strategies, work with the management to empower them to do what's necessary to help elevate the performance of those stores, and then see a successful turnaround for any locations that aren't performing as well as others.
All right. Well, those are all key points, Bob. And what we're going to be talking about in the presentation is, how do you assess and measure the key profit drivers in a business? And we'll also look at the building of some very specific operational standards that are keys to helping someone to profitably run their business. Well, let's look at what else we have up here.
Oh, Mark, I think you need to have an opportunity to pick a category.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to go for frontline incompetence. And let's go big, Bob. Go big or go home for $36,500.
All right, great choice. Okay, Mark, the answer is $36,500 per store per year.
Wow. I guess the question would be, I never realized how much profit my staff might be losing me.
That is correct. Mark, how would you like to elaborate on that a bit for us?
Well, I kind of did the math, Bob, and when I look at it, just think of your team in a store for a 10-hour shift during any given day. If you've got 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, whatever it is it realistic to think that maybe $10 slips through the cracks every hour based on the way that they're interacting with your customers and the way that they are capitalizing on every interaction or not, right? And it's all dependent upon frontline incompetence. So if we do the math, we say, wow, $10 per hour times 10 hours a day, that's $100 a day times 365 days a year is $36,500 per store. So in the presentation, we're going to be talking a little bit about, how do I help my frontline to be as competent as possible in capturing the maximum amount of revenue every hour of every day. And Bob, you're going to be talking a little bit about the impact of training and supervision on that, correct?
Absolutely, Mark. In my own experience, I've seen that training generally looks like this. An employee is hired, they're sent to a store, they work with a senior representative, they learn policy, procedure, the point of sale system, pricing, they're put on the schedule, and then they're turned loose after 2 or 3 days of shadowing that top person. That kind of training isn't going to get it done. And then, of course, there's also a supervisory aspect of this too, where you're setting expectations for an individual, providing them with the tools and resources necessary to succeed, and then reviewing those KPI performance metrics with them on a regular basis to ensure that they're achieving the goals that you set for them. So both areas will be discussed, what proper training looks like and what proper supervision looks like.
Well, really important areas to making sure that we ensure frontline competence instead of incompetence. Well, let's go back to the board. Bob, your turn. Pick a category for us.
Let's see. Oh, this one looks interesting. How about squandering opportunities, Mark, for $5,000?
All right, let's look at squandering opportunities for $5,000. The answer is, customers come, customers go and I lose up to $5,000 per month?
Ooh, let's see here. What is clerking versus converting?
Ah, you hit it on the head there. So talk to us a little bit about conversions.
Well, most stores nowadays utilize some sort of tracking mechanism to get an idea of the kind of counts they have on a store basis, how many people come through the door. And door swings are important, but they really don't mean anything unless you can convert that into some sort of revenue. So if you have 100 customers who come through the door of a store in a given month, how many of those turn into bill paying, revenue generating customers? So it's important that we turn that into a metric. We teach our people how to qualify for additional opportunities, recommend other products, and close additional sales, so that we can look at that as, again, as a very important metric. Out of the number of people that walk through the doors each day, each week, and each month, how many of those are you taking from service to revenue?
Well, that's something every dealer should be looking at, Bob, and a really important point, and I'm sure you've got a bunch more to talk to us about when we get to Vegas here. We're also going to be talking about your bill pay process. And a lot of those door swings that you're talking about there are bill pay customers. And so we look at the bill pay process, and that key word is process. In the session, we're going to be talking about the process that can actually make you money on every bill pay customer, or certainly every day on the bill pay traffic that walks through your door. Another really important area. All right, sounds like fun. Let's look at what else we have.
All right, Mark, why don't you take the next category?
Thank you. Okay, well, let's see. I'm going to go just right down the line here and say, why the heck aren't you doing this? And let's just go for $5,000 and see what we come up with on that one.
All right. The answer is that's $5,000 or more you'll never see.
Okay, well, I'd say, what is stuff you're not promoting effectively, or perhaps not even carrying in your stores?
That is correct. How about if you elaborate on that for us again, Mark?
All right. Well, we're going to be talking about something called foregone revenue and how to turn foregone revenue into incremental revenue. And this is a term I actually learned from you, Bob, so I'm going to have you talk a little bit about the foregone revenue piece before I go into the next components of the money you'll never see.
Exactly. Well, foregone revenue is it's an accounting term that talks about monies that weren't earned that could have been earned.
All right. Simple enough. And let's talk about some of those monies. Well, in our industry, photography and music have become huge. Everyone uses their camera phone as their primary picture-taking device, or at least 90% of the people do, or even more. And a lot of folks are using music, probably that same percentage. There are a number of different new angles to the photography and music side of the business that can make us a lot of money. But when we travel around, we don't see many dealers capitalizing on these the way that they could. So we're going to talk about some things that you could promote more effectively or carry in your store if you're not carrying them now, that can add a lot of incremental profit through the door every single month. All right, we have time for one more today. Bob, go ahead. Pick one more category, and let's just get everybody invited to this session here at the Prepaid Expo.
Absolutely. Well, our last one will be another poor hiring decision.
All right. And
for how much? Do that one for $9,125.
All right, let's do that. Let's see what we've got here. The answer is $9,125 or more per mistake.
Let's see here. What is something dramatically wrong with my recruiting process?
Yes, you've hit on something right there. So let's talk about that one.
Well, this is an important conversation to have because it all starts and ends with people. You can have the best processes in the world, but if you don't have the right people, that's where it blows up on you. So how do you source talent? We're going to talk a little bit about finding people who fit the roles. I've often said that square pegs don't fit in round holes, and a bigger hammer is not the solution. We need to find people who fit those jobs exceptionally well, train them, supervise them well, and give them an opportunity to flourish. So we're going to talk a little bit about recruiting and sourcing talent versus just taking who walks in and running ads.
Such an important area, right? And I think one of the things that we're going to also look at while we're at the expo is what the hiring process actually looks like, and give people some tips for what they can take away on what a lot of dealers tell us are their most important issue, recruiting and retaining higher caliber employees. So sounds like a lot of great content, and if I were a dealer, I sure wouldn't want to miss it.
Nor would I. I think this is going to be the most valuable presentation of the entire session.
Well, you know what? I'm with you on that one. And no personal bias at all there either.
Oh.
Well, listen, we want to thank everyone for listening to our pre-presentation here. We hope to see you in Vegas. If you can't make it, please give us a call. Bob's number's there. My number's there. You can email us. Talk to us about some of your issues that you're wrestling with. If something struck a chord with you on this webinar, please give us a shout, and we'd love to chat with you further about how to address that issue and make money in wireless. Bob, thanks for your time today. We'll look forward to seeing you in Vegas.
Thanks, Mark. Look forward to seeing you there soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.